Dragon Ball Z, as I always say, is one of my favorite series of all time. The fights, the villains, the Z fighters, the Saiyans, Piccolo. Yeah, everything about Dragon Ball Z is great. Even the sagas. Speaking of sagas, today I'm ranking all the sagas from worst to best. Some of you may disagree with some of my placements, I can already tell, but please don't kill me too much. With that said, let's begin this countdown. The Garlic Jr. saga is by far the worst saga in all of Dragon Ball Z. I say that because it felt like it was such a waste of time. This was during the time when Goku had escaped Namek and was on Yardrat training. Vegeta had also went into space looking for Goku. Garlic Jr. and the Spice Boys were just a boring nuisance that got in the way of anything really cool happening. I guess Gohan did get to finish them off, and Piccolo did pull some shenanigans faking who he was, but that's all I'll comment about that. I don't think many will disagree with me saying this is my least favorite saga. The Otherworld saga after the Cell fight is actually not that bad, but what gets me is the fact that almost all of these characters that show up during this saga never show up again. It gets me upset because I really enjoyed the fight between Goku and Pikkon. Goku transformed into a Super Saiyan and everyone in the stadium lost their crap. That was the only real highlight though, and then after, we forget Pikkon exists. It's sad. Up next is the Great Saiyaman saga. I think I'm not wrong when I say all fans were ticked off when we found out Gohan did not train after the Cell games. Instead of seeing Gohan all grown up and as strong as ever, we see him playing superhero and rescuing people. Bro, if I wanted this, I can just turn on My Hero Academia. Deku and the crew do a better job. I will say though, I do like the bit where Gohan meets Videl and the brief period of him at Orange Star High. Okay, I'm not going to entirely crap on the World Tournament saga before Babidi shows up, because I like the fight with Goten and Trunks, and of course Goten meeting Goku for the first time. I still kinda tear up when I see that from time to time. I wish we could have seen some other fights though. For example, between Piccolo and Gohan, or perhaps even Krillin and Tien potentially showing up. I know Tien doesn't show up, but I would have loved for him to make some kind of appearance. They could have done a lot more with this tournament rather than just have it be a starting point to introduce the Supreme Kai. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. Yep, I went there. Cinderella, baby. We got the Babidi saga up next, and while I love the trials that Gohan, Vegeta, and Goku had to go through demonstrating their power and how much of a badass Vegeta is, Babidi as a character, this pisses me off entirely. He's ugly, he's annoying, and I hate the fact that someone as dope as Deborah would obey this shithead. Though I love Majin Vegeta, so I will thank Babidi for that. I hate Fat Boo when he's evil. He reminds me of the fat kid from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Augustus Gloop. He does get better though after the Kid Buu saga when he turns good though. I also hate the fact that Vegeta sacrificed himself and it didn't do absolute jack to him. As a Vegeta fan, I was pretty upset at the time. Goku turning Super Saiyan 3 definitely was a cool touch though. As a kid, I used to really like Gotenks, but then I realized that they weren't the ones who were going to defeat Buu. Literally, all of the cards were on the table. The son of Goku and Vegeta teaming up. And the fact they were also brand new characters practically. We had an opportunity to spotlight some new characters and show how dope they were, but nope, they got eaten. I will give them props for reaching Super Saiyan 3 though. So as I am sure you all noticed, all the sagas that happened in the Buu arc were more or less grouped together. That is because the Majin Buu saga is one of my least favorite arcs in Dragon Ball Z. The Buu fight was dragged on way longer than it needed to be, and thus Kid Buu died to a spirit bomb. Yep, a spirit bomb. The attack that failed against Vegeta and Frieza works on Buu.
But everyone in the universe raised their hands.
Shut up. I'm done here. Kid Buu is the final one here, that's all. Finally, getting to a saga I thoroughly enjoyed, we have the Imperfect Cell saga. Cell was introduced to us as the perfect android created by Dr. Gero, possessing cells from the Saiyans, the Z Fighters, and even the likes of Frieza. Dr. Gero is a mad genius for putting Cell together. The fight he had with Piccolo to test his power was really awesome too. Plus we got to see Piccolo demonstrate a taste of his power after fusing with Kami. This was a great saga nonetheless. Right before the Imperfect Cell saga, we have the Android saga. I love Cell as a character, but I like the androids a tad more. Androids 17 and 18 were portrayed to be the demons of destruction from Trunks' future that caused severe havoc in his timeline. Trunks warned the Z-Fighters of them, but apparently they were stronger in the present-day timeline. With that said, we see Android 18 give a fat kick to Vegeta, and we get a taste of their power after Trunks screams and blasts them, leaving them unscathed.
If that android destroys the door, it'll be the end for all of us. No!
And then we got the memes and all the other crap going on. Ah yes, Perfect Cell making his appearance was one of the most devastating scenes in the history of Z. Cell is able to absorb both Android 17 and 18 into himself, and he becomes what he calls perfection. With that said, Vegeta, as much as I love him, was an idiot and let him gain all that power. The great thing is though, we got to see Final Flash being used for the first time. However, that didn't go well for the prince, and he got knocked the hell out. Closing out my favorite part of the Cell arc was definitely the Cell games. Despite Goku losing the Cell and seeing the other Z-Fighters get their asses beat the Cell Juniors, we did have an epic father-son Kamehameha clash. Gohan had just turned Super Saiyan 2 after Android 16 got his head smashed, and Goku died. But Goku talking to Gohan and pushing him to use all the power he's got, the father-son Kamehameha is one of the best energy clashes in the entire series. And I believe at this point, this is where Gohan plateaued. Still though, the Cell games were epic. Who remembers that epic Bruce Falconer track when Trunks shows up after Frieza lands on Earth? Frieza came to Earth looking for Goku. He obviously wanted revenge. However, that didn't happen as Trunks went Super Saiyan and cut up both Frieza and his father into cold cuts. I just find it hilarious that a fight that took 20 episodes ended in 5 minutes. Despite that, Frieza is still amazing. Up next is the Namek Saga. Right after the fight with Vegeta, Goku and others find out there are other Dragon Balls on Kami and Piccolo's homeworld of Planet Namek. With that said, they make their way there and they encounter the evil tyrant Frieza. A couple of key highlights from this part is when Vegeta shows up and destroys Kui, Dodoria, and Zarbon after a little while. Krillin and Gohan also get stronger by having Guru put his hand on their heads. After Vegeta, Gohan, and Krillin team up against the Ginyu Force and they get their butts kicked, Goku shows up and wipes the floor with everyone. The best highlights are by far when Goku takes out Raccoon with an elbow, punches Jace in the face and screams. And lastly, after Goku powers up for Ginyu, we have that amazing Bruce Falconer track go off. Skipping a bit over the Namek bit, we go back a little to the Saiyan saga where Raditz first makes his appearance. A reason why I like the Raditz saga is definitely because he is seen as a god in comparison to Goku and Piccolo. Raditz comes in and demonstrates that there is a huge world in the universe of Dragon Ball. This also takes place right after Dragon Ball, so there is a vast power difference with Raditz. I love the fact that Goku and Piccolo had to work together to bring him down as well. They were once two enemies wanting to kill each other, and eventually Piccolo would take Goku's son and train him. I gotta say, I love Piccolo as a character, and this was the saga that made me like him the most by far. Following the Raditz saga, we have the Vegeta saga. Vegeta was the strongest enemy so far in the entire series, and the moment I saw him, I knew he was my favorite character. That energy clash between Gallic Gun and Kamehameha was by far the best energy clash in the entire series. That's all I need to say about this saga alone. Finally, my favorite saga in Dragon Ball Z has to be the Frieza saga. I know that some of you may be giving me crap about this. I understand that the Frieza saga was drawn out for a long while, and it took, 20-ish episodes for 5 minutes to pass? But I mean, come on. Frieza on his own deserves this kind of spotlight. He was the destroyer of the Saiyan race, and was the overlord emperor of the entire universe. People crapped their pants when they heard his name. Frieza is just amazing, so I don't have any problem putting his saga at number 1. Oh, and we also got one of the most iconic transformations in the entire series. Goku fought for his entire race and avenged them. Well, technically Trunks did, but that's alright. It was still an epic fight between Goku and Frieza. Well, that wraps up my favorite sagas in Dragon Ball Z ranked. What's your favorite Dragon Ball saga? Let me know down below and let's get a discussion going. Though I will say, if it's the Garlic Jr. saga, you should just not comment at all. I'm kidding. Anyways though, I'm gonna wrap up this video. I'm Mystic Sage, and I will see you in the future for more awesome anime content.